Can I just bring up something that I know people are going to get pissed off when I say this, and this is probably they're going to take this the wrong way, but I do think this is a real aspect of the conversation. Maybe not something anybody wants to say out loud, but I do think there's a real aspect to this. Now that he's back in a position of he's coaching in the NFL, I just wonder, and maybe this won't be said publicly, I wonder how many people around the league look at him differently, like, got to keep our mouth shut around him. Got to be careful what you say around him because he's liable to go and share a text message with Bill Belichick, and he's liable to go this direction.
Share a text message of Bill Belichick, not with him, of him.
I just wonder how many people are going to look at Brian Flores differently, right or wrong. I just wonder how many people in the league look at Brian Flores, and I don't want to say as a snitch or anything like that. I just wonder how many people look at Brian Flores and say, we got to be careful around him.
Players and coaches don't trust one another anyway, to begin with. We've had this conversation at length before. You think about what took place in Jacksonville, it was players and coaches that did Urban Meyer in.
Yeah.
Not just players, not just coaches, players and coaches. I've seen it happen. Steve Spurrier was done in by players and coaches.
Yeah.
Like, that happens all the time. So players and coaches, there's that written rule that you don't trust one another. Like, that's a very rare deal to have an entire coaching staff, players that trust one another. So that's already up for debate anyway.
This went to a new level.
It takes it to a whole nother level.
And that's a real concern.
Yeah, that takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, because from here on out, you got to believe, again, the same arguments, the same discussion points that existed with Colin Kaepernick are going to exist with Brian Flores. If Brian Flores, for some strange reason, gets let go, I mean, Joey Porter was let go. He was doing a fine job as the linebackers coach. They had to make a move because the defense was underperforming. Someone had to take the rap for it. Pittsburgh is known for the way their linebackers play. They weren't playing as well, but they weren't bad. They just weren't as well, and they let him go. This happens all the time. So the problem you'll run in with a Colin Kaepernick, you bring him in, you put him on your team. You give him an opportunity. If he does well, it's all great, right? But even once he's able to make it onto the team, now everybody's going to be like, well, why isn't he playing? Well, why isn't he playing more? Well, why isn't he starting? There's always going to be that next something that people are going to say, this isn't right, he's being mistreated. The same thing is going to exist with Flores, I would imagine. I don't know to what capacity, but the same thing, if Flores were, anytime he comes under scrutiny, anytime he may lose his job, it's always going to come back to
100%.
This is why.
Yep.
And this always is going to be a reason, an excuse, and it almost makes the person untouchable when you hire them.
Yeah. Because you have a feeling of you got to walk on eggshells because you don't want to move on from him. Because in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, how's he going to turn this and spin this in a different direction, right or wrong? I just think that's a real element to all this that maybe a lot of people haven't talked about.
I think there's a lot of respect that comes with joining a coaching staff with Mike Tomlin, especially for the simple fact that Pittsburgh is bailing him out by presenting this opportunity for him. I don't know how genuine that is. I really don't. I don't know how genuine hiring him is. Does it fulfill a need? It does fill a need. Is there a bigger aspect of this at play? Knowing who Mike Tomlin is, I would say yes, there is. I think that he feels like there is a moral duty for him and an obligation for him to do what he's doing right now and to be a part of a solution for Brian Flores because it represents something bigger than just Brian Flores. But again, with that being said, and not understanding that there is a respect level for and a healthy respect for Mike Tomlin, it still comes back to your original statement is, what does this mean moving forward? Does this create a sideshow of sorts, confusion of sorts, bringing Flores into into the organization. How will they handle that? Because the questions will come. It will get heated. What if they don't play well next year? Mike Tomlin always, for some strange, weird reason, finds himself on the hot seat as a coach in Pittsburgh. What if he finds himself in a situation where they're not doing well and they're talking about what his job security looks like? Where do these conversations go?
Because think about the people that Brian Flores, I know we're going to get to Eddie Garcia in a moment, but just think about the people that he went after. He went after an NFL owner. He went after the Giants, which is, NFL royalty. He went after John Elway, which is NFL royalty. I mean, he went after.
I don't really care about all that. I don't care about there being NFL royalty.
But I just think
right is right, Jonas.
I get it.
Right is right.
I totally get it. But look, they've all denied this. John Elway said, I wasn't drunk. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we have a log of it. We have, like, they've all come back. And I just think that there are going to be people that are in Pittsburgh or in and around Brian Flores that are like, well, I can't say this. I got to be careful here. I don't know if he's going to go and run with this. I just think that's a real part of the conversation.
My biggest curiosity to this is he is continuing the lawsuit. In fact, from what I can gather, he doubled down on the lawsuit last week.
Yes.
How does this impact what he's doing? Which most will say it doesn't, which maybe that's true. Maybe that is true. Maybe it doesn't. But maybe is it horrible for me to say, with all of these lawsuits that are taking place, is it horrible to say hire him so the spotlight isn't shined on you? Is it horrible to say? Is it horrible to say that?
No, because I think all of this is. The problem is people aren't going to want to have the conversation that we're having, like, because they're afraid of the pushback.
I mean, hire him so that all of these people that are getting sued, that spotlight doesn't come on us. We don't need to rattle the boat. We don't need. We got a good thing going on here.
I think it's fair. I think all of that's valid. I really do.